much closer are you guys to figuring out what's holding you back on the offensive line, and what are you guys trying to do to?
Yeah, man, it goes into a multitude of things. First, it starts with me and what position I'm putting them in, and who I got out there, and what decisions I'm making. So it starts with assessing this 6 weeks and watching every run scheme, every play, every moment, who did what, and make sure whatever they're doing well, I find a way to allow them to do that. It can't be what I think is going to work or what the defense is giving us. It's got to be what we've shown that we actually are capable of. And also understanding that it might change up the lineup, so I got to make sure whoever it is can have success in those moments. So I got to do a better job putting them in better situations.
Is there a common theme in what's not allowing that game down?
No, that's what makes it. If it was common, it'd be easy to fix it. But when it's multiple layers of it, that's when it becomes a difficult thing. So you start grab bagging. You start, okay, all right, it could have been this deal, so I fixed this problem. But then the guy I fixed the way gets hurt. Now what's the next deal? So it's planning ahead. So it's as bad as it's gonna get. So we got to make sure we're still taking final steps to improve it, and also not being in out of character mode, because that's the easiest thing to do. Go panic. Like, oh man, let's just try this. No, getting simple and fundamental basic things is the goal. And that's what we got to go back to. Everybody says go back. You've been doing it. You got to do it better than what you've been doing.
Does it feel like for the run game that it's more mental for you guys than it is physical at this point? That it's not executing the way you guys want?
Yeah, I mean a little bit of both. You got young guys going through things that might not be out there, from personal to injury. All that everybody deals with that. So it's finding a common goal to make sure we're getting the result we want. And it's also being the consistent voice to them, because some of them this is their first time going through this. So they're looking at me to see how I'm going to react to this deal. Is he going to panic? Is he going to start doing out of his character? Is he going to start changing stuff? So you got to be consistent with him and just making sure you're teaching the same thing that you've been teaching.
As you try to find your best five, is it trying to find the best five to win the ball, or is it trying to find the best five for every snap?
Yeah, it's both, because it's more than just that aspect of the game, but you also still have to have the five out there, because you might say, all right, this is the best guy, I'm going to stick him in at guard, but he's never had this kind of pull against this kind of guy, against this kind of defense, or he's never seen this inside twist, or if they line up in bare, that can be another issue. So sometimes you can compound problems. You can make one problem another problem if you don't fix the other problem. So basically, I can go fix that piece, but then you might default in protection. Or I can go fix that piece, and you might default in play action protection. So it's finding a common ground where we got to do something well and stick to that something.
With Mo, do you have a conversation with him about his hand issue?
Oh yeah, I just had a long one with him. It's more most done it. It's done at a high level. So when a center has a game like that, usually they're hiding something from you, or an impalement, or a worry and anxiety. It's just like a golf swing, man. So I got to find whatever that is to make sure I'm helping them through.
His first start for Andre Otto, seems like probably some growing pains. How did you handle that kind of in the moment, and then now getting back to practice, how's he kind of responded to that? It's been
good, man. I give Otto a lot of credit, because he saw some issues that he hadn't seen in practice show up in a game, and he was just in there working them now. So I'm proud of his mindset, his approach of how good he wants to be.
You moved Jalen to left tackle. You moved, Darius inside. Is that something, like you said earlier, just trying to figure it out, or is that a place you think these guys can stick out?
Yeah, because Jalen's a good player also, but then you put him out there, you stick Darius in at guard, who's played it before, but that can add another issue, a problem in protection versus the run game. So it's finding those puzzles and pieces with the five that you have available in the moment, and making sure you're giving them some kind of common ground.
Every time a lineman wins a rep or loses a rep, I think people think it's physicality. How much of it is physicality? How much of it is technique and fundamentals?
Yeah, I would say the majority of the time it's going to be a fundamental technique issue, because of you step too short, your hands too wide, things like that. But sometimes you just get your ass ran over. I mean, that's a part of the game too, where you might be on your heels and you get ran over. So that's going to happen too. But my deal is what's going to happen the next rep, because it's unrealistic to think that's not going to happen. It's going to happen. Now what is going to define you moving forward? That's the progress that we're looking for.
Coach, I think you had 2 or 3 holding penalties. Kind of how do you limit that? Is that also fundamental?
Yeah, that was one of our getting ran over, and he kind of grabbed him on the way down. That was an issue. And then holdings happen when you break the container of the pocket, so he might be thinking the quarterback launch point is behind him, then the quarterback scrambles, or he thinks the quarterback moved one way and he didn't. So those holding penalties goes back to technique fundamentals, hands inside, and when I do get outside the pocket, I feel a tug, accelerating my feet or letting them go on it, so you won't get the -10.
Several of the guys on this offensive line have played a lot of college football and played at a higher level. Is it finding a way to bring them all together, or is it individually guys raising their individual play?
A little bit of both, but for example, I used to buy Byers, who missed 3 games because of the knee. Darius missed the game because of the neck. Furry around with 1 arm with 1 brace on, ankle surgery in the summer, hamstring band on. Like a lot of that, alters you're not the same guy as you were. You know, you got to find different angles and unique, and that's a part of the game. Some guys, man, you got many war stories about guys, man, I ain't had this and I had to go find a way. So some of that is that grit and finding a way. There's also me giving them the opportunity. I'm always go back to myself as me saying, okay, he's struggling at this. What can we do just to limit this and just do this? Maybe he can't do this. So giving them the same picture so they can get that little bit faster reaction than what they get. So it's a little bit getting out of my comfort zone as well. It's not saying, all right, this is good. Oh man, this might be good to this look, but that guy hadn't done it enough times to go execute it. So it's got to be something they can do and keeping it simple where they can go execute it.
How did Brock do?
Man, Brock's scrappy, man. I mean, I've seen he's been around. It seems like he's been a vet with me anyway. I thought he was good decisions, good ball location, played with a lot of confidence, which Brock always plays with a lot of confidence, man. I was proud of him because you look at Brock's first 2 starts versus him growing now into his second year. He's taking that normal progression that he needs, but I thought he did a really good job of being poised, under control, took a shot, got back up, kept going. I think that was a big moment for him.
Above the shoulders, did he check the plays at the line? Like, how was he just as far as game management and things like that?
He's getting better. We didn't put too much on him. You know, he can handle it now, but we didn't want to put too much on him. We got to be smart with that, making sure we're giving him easy things that he can access to, because sometimes we get ahead of ourselves because we see there like, but he had nothing. So let me be a better coach and say, all right, let's give him this where he can at least understand it and go execute. And I thought he did a good job of executing that. But I mean, mentally sharp now. I mean, he can handle it, and we can start adding more and more, similar to the progress of the last guy we had.
The freshman tight ends, Landon last week. I guess the last 2 weeks they both had touchdowns. What have you seen from them, and how valuable is them getting in that game experience to see, oh, this is what it's like? I mean, having a larger role.
2 long, lean, athletic bodies that can go catch and run routes. I mean, they've always excelled at that. I was proud to see Landon bounce back. You know, he was out in the summer. So it's good to see him work his way back out of that green jersey and start executing at a high level. Amari, who got here, should be still in high school early. So as their bodies develop, other aspects of the game help, which also help the run game. As their bodies develop and they're out there, but running, route catching, man, they'll be two of the best in the country if they keep progressing.
Following up on that, how can they improve as blockers? Because they've gotten a couple holding calls, and obviously, like you said, you want to communicate as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing about run game. It involves everybody from the perimeter to the edges, especially their position because of the edges and us on the inside. I just think just body development, man. They just got to go through off seasons. Got to keep bulking up. They're on the young guy weight room program. I mean, they're taking the bulk load of practice and still in that morning weight room group with the red shirts. So they're taking that double load, which you'll start seeing their bodies progress and take place, which it'd be, you know, once they get that part, it'll help us a lot. But they're helping us now with the things they do naturally and understanding and work at the mental part. I've been proud of.
You mentioned the injuries on the offensive line. You also, a couple of backs are down.
Yeah.
Teams had some injury stuff to deal with.
Absolutely.
Can you even acknowledge that as a coaching staff, or do you have to just?
I mean, you do, because it provides opportunity, not just for the next guy, but how we handle it. Like, there's going to be ebb and flows of good, bad, negative, this, and they're going to be looking at us to see, all right, how they handle it. How they gonna handle adversity? How they gonna respond to it? Are they gonna change in their character? Are they gonna change up? Are we gonna come out to practice and just up down the whole time? Or we gonna stay to the plan and stay to the process because we know we've seen the results of it.
What happens during the course of the season where you're 6 games in and you've got guys that have played so much football, but there's still uncertainty on who can do what and people knowing their role?
It's still realistic competition that's going to take place as younger guys keep progressing and understanding, because you can also mess up a young guy's career if you just throw him in there and he's not ready. I've seen that go the other way too. So the natural deal is to, this older guy starts to throw the young guy in there, but then he goes in there, now you affect his psyche and he's not ready, and now he gets hurt too early, and he got to have surgery, so he loses an off season. So there is that part of planning, making sure we're developing those guys and putting them in there when they're ready, but also still creating true competition where it ain't just like, hey, all is good, it's okay. No, it's still a strain in the competition, the level of fixes. So when you go back in these last 6 weeks, you watch everything. Had one-on-one meetings with each one of them and watch each play that they had to improve on, or it's going to be a change maker.
Thanks.